Yo, what's up, guys? This whole week I've been dropping videos telling you guys to add value back to your community, but I haven't shown you a clear example of what that looks like. And a lot of people think that when I say adding value, you need to go do some big thing. You need to go be Mr. Moneybags and pour money into your community and do a bunch of extra stuff. And that's not what I mean. Not what I mean at all. And also, when I use the word community, I want to make it clear that I'm not talking about your race, your gender, your sexuality, any of that stuff. When I say community, I just mean the greater population. Just giving back to all the humans around you. That's all I mean. Because somebody in the comments asked me that a day ago. So I haven't given you guys a clear example of what adding value is. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a story time from my own life. I told you guys that I used to be just like you. I used to be making between $15,000 and $22,000 a year at a company that I didn't like working for. And I would look around, look to the internet, and I would see all these people being super successful, driving supercars, traveling, doing all the stuff that I wanted to do. And I couldn't figure out how they were getting the money they had in order to do those things. And it would really bother me. I would toss and turn thinking about it. How do they have so much money? How can these people travel? How can these people buy supercars? Do you know how much a supercar costs? And the problem was that I didn't know that I was missing a step in life that was needed to get to the point where you start making real money, start seeing real success. And that was giving back. Not closing myself in and hiding from people around me, but actually giving back to the people that surround me, adding value. The problem is that you can't just start adding value from scratch. Like, it's extremely hard to just change who you are and start doing something different and building something. You can't build if you don't know how. So I had to start from the beginning, right? And thankfully, I had a problem to solve. You know, I think that one of the best ways to learn a skill and to grow as a person is having a problem that you need to solve, an obstacle. Obstacles, problems, difficulties, stress, misfortune, all of these things are blessings in disguise because they make you a stronger person. They give you the ability to learn something new and to really push yourself to your limit. And I know that's going to sound cliche, but they always say it. Diamonds are made under pressure. If you don't have difficulties in life, if you're just cruising, you're never going to become that stronger person. You're never going to become that better person. So for me, it was a job. The job had us doing all kinds of stuff that were not in the job description. And one of those things was tracking inventory. And I hated having to track inventory because I worked in the front doing customer service. And I would have to walk all the way from the front of the building to the back of the building to where they kept the inventory. And I would have to write these inventories down and then go all the way back up to the front and put it in a computer. And I told myself, why the hell am I doing this? First of all, this is not my job description. That's the first step. At first, I was just upset that I was doing something extra. But then I realized that I could capitalize on it and learn something new. So I decided to automate the process. But the issue I was facing was, how do you automate a process when it's a physical thing? You've got to walk back and forth, right? Originally, I thought about just getting an iPad and getting an Excel spreadsheet and just typing the stuff in manually. And bada bing, bada boom, it would be on the computer because the Excel spreadsheet would be tied to the computer. I'd add a macro that would keep track of how the inventory gets used. And that way I wouldn't have to go back and forth once I log the initial buys of the products that we were selling. But that seemed a little bit redundant and silly to me because anybody can make an Excel spreadsheet. And in my previous job, I had already made an Excel spreadsheet for something else. So I wasn't really going to learn anything. And also, I didn't want to have to carry a giant iPad. So I started thinking, what else can I do? And it hit me that I could just make a mobile app that tracks the inventory. But the problem is that I didn't know how to make a mobile app. I wasn't a developer. I wasn't into code. I didn't know how to do any of those things. And, you know, a lot of people see me now and they think that I was some sort of computer guy my entire life, some sort of computer whiz kid. That's not true. I was never really a computer whiz kid. I went to college and I took a bunch of courses on graphic design. And while I was taking courses for graphic design, I decided to take a few computer science courses, one of which was a iOS mobile developer course. And out of all the courses I took, right, everything I took in school, I literally failed the computer science courses. That's the thing that people don't tell you. That's the thing that I didn't tell you. That I failed those courses. An F. Not a D, not a C, a literal big fat F. Those were the only courses that I ever failed. In particular, Objective-C. And it really made me think about who I am as a person, because I always thought that I was like a smart guy that could learn these things, I could hack it. But in this case, I was not able to hack it. I failed the course. I couldn't get the work done. I couldn't even comprehend what I was doing, which is ironic because it was Objective-C. And now, you know, I work with these languages every day at work. So I think that inside this story, and I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but inside this story, there's multiple lessons. One of them is that you should never give up, even if everything points in the other direction, even if all the clues around you tell you that you're not good at something, because the truth is that nobody's good at anything. You learn to be good at stuff. You put the effort in, you work hard, you get better. And if I had just given up and never went back to learning how to code, then I wouldn't be making six figures right now. I would have never had a supercar. I would have never been able to afford the lifestyle I have at the moment. I would just be a guy working a $20,000 to $30,000 job. Anyways, so I went back and I said, you know what? I'm tired of taking this inventory manually. I'm going to build something that will help me do this faster and not take that much of my day, because it would take a long time going through all the items and tracking how much we had of each item. And that day I went home, I met up with my cousin and my brother, and I told them what I wanted to do. I told them, hey man, we're broke. We're broke and I'm tired of being broke. I need to figure out what to do to get to the next level. So I told them like, yo, guys, let's meet up. Let's make this this app to track inventory, and we need to learn how to code to do it. And then we can sell it, because I had gone to a trade show for the company and there were guys selling apps there for other things. I think that's what triggered the idea in me. So then I sat around the table with my cousin and my brother and I told them like, yo, let's learn how to write code. And there was this, at the time, website called lynda.com that you could watch courses on, right? The courses would teach you how to do different things. And I told my cousin like, yo, I'm going to sign up for lynda.com. And he's like, that's a great idea. We can sign up tomorrow. We can split the cost. And he was like talking about what to do. And I was like, bro, this guy is yapping again. I'm just going to do it. And while he was telling me the strategy, the plan on signing up for lynda.com, I had already put up my credit card and I had already like, he was talking, he was yapping. Oh yeah, man, it's $35 a month. I can put 10 in, your brother can put 10 in, and you can put 15, and we can do this. And I'm like, dude, I already signed up, I already paid. And that was really putting my money where my mouth is. That's when this whole taking action mindset really kind of started for me. That instead of planning and thinking about what you're going to do and talking about it and talking and talking and talking and talking and planning and planning and planning, just do it. You got to put your money where your mouth is. And in this case, you got to remember, I was broke. Back in those days, my account would get overdrafted all the time. All the time. Like at least 2 times a month. At least 2 times a month, I would have to message my brother or my dad and ask them for money because my bank account would be overdrafted. But I put my money where my mouth is and I signed up for lynda.com. I spent the $35. And you know what else I did? Once I got lynda.com and I started going through the courses, I realized that the computer that I had just wasn't going to cut it. The computer that I had was not working for me. It was slow. It was trash. It could not handle the process of writing code and compiling. So I went and I got a loan. I literally went and got a loan. I got a $3,500 loan and I bought a MacBook Pro. And the combination of getting a loan and getting the MacBook Pro and spending the $35 changed my entire life. It changed the entire trajectory of my life. My path at that moment completely changed from being a brokey loser to being a guy that gets stuff done. And over the next 6-7 months, I spent all my time, all of it, learning how to code. I downloaded a bunch of books on coding, and every day after work, and you know what? Fuck it. Even at work, I would sit there writing code. And my boss would come in and be like, what the hell are you doing? And I'd be like, bro, I do customer service and design here. There's nobody coming in. There's no customers. There's no work to do. Let me learn this thing on my time. Well, on your time. On your time. And that's what I would do. I would sit there when there were no customers and there was nothing to do, and I would watch videos about coding. I would write little examples of code. I annoyed my coworkers. Every second I would come up with something and be like, yo, look what I made. Guys, look what I did. And finally, at the end of the 6 months, I knew how to write the application for the inventory tracking. I had built the entire application out and I was using it at work every day. And I was proud of myself. But what I didn't realize is that the passion that led me to learning how to write code to complete that task would be the passion that would lead me to getting a 6-figure job. And I think it proves my point that you don't need to do it for money. If you find something you're truly passionate about, you can make money on it. I'm pretty sure that every passion that a person can have, they can use it to make money. There's going to be another person that has the same passion that will be willing to pay you to get ahead, or just for entertainment sometimes, just because they like what you're doing. They might just pay just because they want to see what you're working on. This works for every category, man, whether it be writing, whether it be art, whether it be coding, anything. If you're really passionate about something and you become the best at it, there's going to be somebody who will pay you for that service or for that knowledge. Always. The problem is that a lot of people would not start like how I started. They would start thinking about the money. And I think that when you think about the money and you're doing it only because you want money, you don't have any soul, you don't got any passion in it, it almost never works out because you get burnt out. You don't have that level of drive, that level of delusion that you have when you're doing it just for the fun of the game, just for passion. And don't get me wrong, when I was learning how to code, I gave up 2 times. The first month after I watched lynda.com, I watched a whole bunch of courses. You know, I almost got stuck in this fucking, what's it called? Analysis paralysis, you know, tutorial hell. Tutorial purgatory, where you just sit there and you watch a bunch of tutorials, you watch a bunch of videos about something, but you actually never do it. I watched the whole lynda.com series, and I think that what happened was I didn't understand how the whole coding thing works in the beginning. I thought I could just watch videos and I would learn by just watching. But what happened was I watched all the videos, and when I finished watching all of those videos, I was like, okay, now I'm going to go build my app. And I opened up the IDE Xcode, and I couldn't even build a button. I couldn't even make a screen because, you know, everything that you want to learn in this life is different, right? Coding is different from drawing. Drawing is different from writing. Writing is different from building something physical. Everything has different levels and a different learning curve. But coding is something that's very hands-on. Like if you don't write your code yourself, then you're not going to know what to do. Even if you watch somebody, you could watch somebody for the rest of your life coding and you still wouldn't know how to code at the end of the day. You got to just get your hands dirty. And I didn't know that. I thought I could just watch the videos and I would know. So I finished and I was very discouraged because I couldn't write any code at all. And for the next 2 months, I was back to where I was when I came out of school. I was like, this is not for me. I watched hours and hours worth of videos and I still have not been able to build anything. So I gave up and I went back to my boring 9 to 5 depression. And then I don't know what happened. Something must have happened. I can't remember, but I snapped out of it. I snapped out of it. And thank goodness I went to the Apple Books app and I found a free book that Apple had that I think it was titled Learn How to Code or Everyone Can Code. And I downloaded that book, and that book had like a tutorial, but it had step-by-step guides for you to do, you know, tasks. And I went through the book and I did all the tasks in the book. And when I finished that book, I was an expert. It was a done deal. It was a done deal. When I finished that book, I closed the book. I closed everything. I built my app without looking at anything because that was really when I started to learn how to code for real. And that, it goes back to what I was saying again, action. Forget about being perfect. You know, I don't know how many times I got to say it, but if you have something you want to build or do, go out and do the most imperfect, worst, horrible, shitty version of that thing. Because when you start working on that thing, you're going to get better. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to know everything. That's the thing. You know, coding has taught me this. You don't need to know everything. You can go out and not know what you're doing and wing it. And when you run into an obstacle, you just learn what you need to learn to get past that obstacle. And I think if you apply that philosophy to life, you'll go a long way. Not planning everything out, not wanting to know everything. Just go into it blind, start working, and work your way through the problems. So that's what I did after I learned that book. After I read through the whole book and I did all the tutorials, all the tasks, all the challenges, I went back, I built my app, and I completed the app. In fact, I went so far as to publish the app on the App Store. So it wasn't even just like me using the app for personal use on my own device just for work. I was like, you know what? Let me publish this app to the App Store. I published it to the App Store. And then I said, you know what? I learned a new skill that's valuable. And at the time, I didn't realize how valuable it was until I think I was talking to somebody else about my app and this and that. And they were like, have you looked into any jobs as a developer? And I was like, jobs as a developer? See, the thing is that when you're doing something for passion, when you're doing it out of love, like many artists, you're not even thinking about the financial aspect of it. It had never even occurred to me to go look at developer jobs or that you could even get a job as a developer. So then I think I went to the internet and I started looking at the developer jobs and I saw that all the jobs were like $100,000, $150,000, $200,000, $300,000. And that's when it hit me that, holy shit, I just learned something that is actually valuable. I learned something that actually can get you real money, real success. But I didn't know the rules of the game at that time. So I was like, fuck, I don't got a degree in computer science. So I went back to college, bro. This is what happens when you don't have people around you that can really guide you. You don't got a fucking mentor to tell you the truth, to tell you how things work. I went back and I tried to enroll in the computer science program at Embry-Riddle. Which if you know your schools, Embry-Riddle is a school in Florida that's extremely expensive. They wanted like $80,000 for the degree. And luckily for me, when the semester started, I missed the deadline for financial aid. And that changed my entire life. When I missed the deadline, at first I felt really, really disappointed and just down. I was just like, man, I'm never going to get a job now as a developer because I missed this deadline. I'm not going to get the degree. What should I do? And I had the craziest idea. That day, I remember the day I talked to the counselor. The counselor was like, you missed the deadline, dude. You didn't get the paperwork in time. Your FAFSA, we can't approve it because it's past the deadline. I remember driving back, down, depressed, thinking about how, fuck, I learned how to code and I still can't get into a computer science class. Fuck. And that day, I think when I got home, it dawned on me, you know what? I'm going to keep on working on my skill. I'm going to keep on building apps, and I'm going to start applying to jobs. And that's what I did. I went on LinkedIn and I just started applying to jobs with no experience other than my own bullshit experience. And you know what happened? The craziest thing happened. And this is where the magic comes into play. When you're passionate about something, when you become an expert about something, when you become the best, or at least the best person you know, when you know every little nitty gritty about something, other people can see it. Other people can feel that passion. They just hear you talking and they know. They say, this guy is extremely passionate about this topic. This guy knows a lot. This guy knows his stuff. And that's what happened. I did a few interviews with major companies. I'm talking about Facebook, Google, AT&T, Apple. And I got an offer. And then I got another offer. And then I got another offer. And I took the offer that paid the most. And then I went back and I told the other people I knew, including my brother and my cousin, what happened. And they were shocked. And I told them, look, you guys should have taken action. You know, this is another thing that happens. When you don't take action, you get regret. When you see another person who did take action, who did work on something, and they made it. I said, look, dude, look at this contract. I'm making 6 figures now. I just got hired. They just sent me the computer. Because that's the other thing. When people who don't put the work in see somebody else reach success, they always have a cope. That's not a real watch. That's fake. He's renting that supercar. They always have something negative to say to feel better about themselves. So I told my brother and my cousin, and they were like, that's probably a scam. They're like, they're going to scam you, dude. That's not a real job. Because in their mind, they couldn't comprehend that I just went from making $20,000 to making like $120,000, right? My first computer science job. And they put a little bit of doubt in me when they said that, because I was like, maybe it is a scam. Because who am I? I'm not qualified for this job. In fact, when I did my interview, I aced the interviews. But the only reason I got an interview is because I told them on my resume that I had 1 year of experience. But I didn't have 1 year experience. See, sometimes you got to break the rules. Sometimes you got to break the rules to fucking make it. I knew that I had the experience, but I didn't have it in a work environment. But I had to twist the truth, because otherwise you would never get called. It didn't matter how good you were. You weren't even going to get the interview at all if you didn't have any experience. So I just said I had 1 year experience. I used the company that I worked at before, and I said I have 1 year as a developer at this company. And then I showed them the app that I made to track inventory, and I used that as proof that I worked at this company and made an app. So I don't even know if that's lying. I think it's like a gray area, because I did work at the company and I did make the app for the company and I did use it at work. All of those things were true. But back to what I was saying. People don't believe. The doubters will try to put doubt in your heart about what you're doing or what you've accomplished. But that doubt evaporated when the computer the company was sending me arrived. When I got that package in the mail from the company and I opened it up and it had a brand new computer, brand new MacBook Pro state-of-the-art computer, all doubt was gone. All doubt was gone. And I realized for the first time in my life that I was actually doing something that was high value. I realized that I was actually doing something that was a game changer. And I started to reflect on every time that I've become successful. It has always been when I've done something out of passion. So I guess the point of this video is that for you to add value to your community, you don't need to do something crazy, you know? You just need to find something that you're passionate about and that other people are passionate about and convert that into a service that other people need. And in this case, it was coding, you know? I had a passion about a passion for making apps, a passion for building, a passion for problem solving. And I realized little by little, right? I didn't realize on my own. Other people told me, but I figured out that it was a skill that other people needed. And I converted that skill into a service. Now, it's a service on a smaller scale. I didn't make some sort of company that develops. I didn't make an engineering firm, but I operated my own life as if it was a business. I grabbed my passion and I used my passion as a service. And I guess what I'm trying to say to you is that you need to find how to use your passion as a service. And any passion, I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. Even absurd passions can be used as a service. There's all kinds of crazy examples I could give you of people that have weird passions and they've managed to figure out how to use those passions to make money. But what came first was the passion. Just like me making YouTube videos, right? I don't make YouTube videos because I want to make money off the YouTube videos. I don't make YouTube videos because I want to get clout and get fame. I make YouTube videos because I have a passion for making videos. And at some point, that passion will overflow and it will generate money. It will generate revenue. It will get views. And the doubters are already circling me, telling me that that's not going to happen. It's not going to work. But you got to put those people out, kick them out the door. Don't listen to them. Stick to what you're passionate about, and I promise you it will work out. It's not that hard. Don't chase the money. Don't chase the clout. Don't chase fame. Don't chase success. Chase what makes you happy. Chase what you love. Chase your passion. And once you become a master at that passion, once you become the best, once you're completely knees deep, ankle deep, neck deep, over your head with passion on that topic, then use your light, your inner self, who you really are, the expert in that topic, to sell it to other people. To sell it to other people that are passionate about it, or that need that service that is tied to it in some way, or that want to learn. You can't go wrong, man. You can't go wrong if you're passionate about something. If you're genuinely just being you and just doing what you love. But just like me, a lot of people that are passionate about something, they don't realize they can make money off of it. A lot of artists, a lot of artists make art. They're so deep in the art. They're experts at what they do, but they don't realize they can sell the art. They don't think about it financially. That's the problem. A lot of people that are passionate, they get blinded by the passion. You got to be passionate, but you also got to look at the world around you and figure out how you can use your strengths, the skills that you've earned through hard work, through effort, how you can use those skills to make money. And once you do that, you're off to the races. Almost every multimillionaire business entrepreneur that I've talked about in the past and that I've met, they got rich because they followed their passion. They didn't get rich because they were chasing money. Now, after they got rich, after they were successful, after that, maybe the other projects they've worked on were to chase money. But that was after they did their initial thing. Their initial thing, the catalyst that usually takes the person to success, is usually based off of something they loved to do. Most people don't wake up and say, I'm doing this because I want to make money. I want to get rich. The people that do that don't succeed. They burn out. They burn out because they don't love what they're doing. So anyways, if you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. And don't hit it because I'm asking you to hit it. Hit it because you want to learn something and you want to grow as a person. I promise you that you're going to get back your return on investment when you click on that button. And if you want to watch a video about why the Willy Wonka effect is destroying society, why Kai Cenat, Streamer University, the AP watch, all of the things we're seeing right now, the media phenomena are ruining society and they'll keep you broke. The video's right here. Right here. Go click on it. Go click on it and watch it. I'm sure you're going to love the video. Anyways, I'll catch you guys later. I'm out. Peace.